Hello, dear viewers, and welcome back to the channel, where we meticulously unpack the intricate dramas unfolding behind the gilded gates of the British royal family. Today, we delve into a pivotal moment of crisis management orchestrated by the reigning monarch, King Charles III, as he grapples with arguably the most persistent and damaging internal challenge the House of Windsor has faced in recent memory. The long-term status and residence of his younger brother, Prince Andrew, the Duke of York. Before we navigate the complex legal and financial battles surrounding the sprawling Royal Lodge estate, do remember to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and ring that notification bell so you never miss our detailed explorations of royal affairs. Your support ensures we can continue bringing you these exclusive deep dives. The pressure mounting upon the sovereign is immense. At 76 years of age, King Charles III is not just focused on his modernization agenda for the monarchy. He is also undertaking the daunting task of resolving the lingering controversies that continue to cast a long, dark shadow over the institution. Sources close to the palace indicate that the king has finally taken what can only be described as drastic, decisive measures to cope with these daunting crises, specifically focusing on extricating Prince Andrew from the highly scrutinized position he currently occupies at Royal Lodge in Windsor. The monarch is reportedly locked in crucial, delicate negotiations regarding his brother's residential future. This is not a simple eviction. It is a sophisticated, high-stakes negotiation aimed at offering the Duke of York a dignified, yet firm, safe passage to permanently leave the cherished Windsor property. This intensification of efforts comes amidst a period of growing public scrutiny and intense media pressure, not only directed at Andrew himself, but also concerning the past associations and enduring controversies linked to him and his former wife, Sarah Ferguson. The narrative surrounding the Duke has become virtually untenable for a modern monarchy striving for transparency and public approval. Buckingham Palace, recognizing the necessity of a swift resolution, has significantly intensified its efforts to persuade the royal to voluntarily vacate the magnificent 30-room estate. The key word here is voluntarily. The reason for this diplomatic approach, rather than a forceful removal, lies in the seemingly unbreakable terms of Prince Andrew's tenancy agreement. This ancient, almost ironclad contract acts as a formidable legal shield, preventing the palace from simply demanding his departure. This legal loophole has been the central obstacle to the king's desire to streamline the royal estate and distance the crown from the ongoing negative publicity associated with the Duke of York. The gravity of the situation was recently underscored by a quiet yet profoundly symbolic development. Prince Andrew's royal banner has vanished from its long-time hallowed place inside St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle. For the audience of royal watchers, this was a clear, undeniable signal of Andrew's diminished standing and the palace's accelerating efforts to erase his public visibility. The removal of such a standard, traditionally signifying a Knight of the Garter and a prominent royal figure, speaks volumes about the institution's current stance. Following this subtle but powerful public repositioning, Prince Andrew and high-level royal officials held a secret, pivotal meeting specifically concerning his departure from the royal residence. This meeting was necessitated by the widespread public backlash stemming from Andrew's controversial rent-free occupancy of such a substantial piece of crown property. The optics of a non-working royal maintaining such a lavish lifestyle, seemingly subsidized by the state, proved too toxic to ignore. Initially, resistance from the Duke of York was staunch. He repeatedly pointed to the extraordinary fact that he possessed 5 decades, a full 50 years, remaining on his prepaid tenancy agreement. This tenure, rooted in a highly unusual and historic lease arrangement with the Crown Estate, provided him with significant legal leverage. It was a contractual fortress. However, palace insiders, those privy to the most sensitive discussions, now detect a noticeable shift in the Duke's demeanor. There is an increasing, albeit reluctant, acceptance that relocation is, for all practical purposes, unavoidable. The tide of public opinion and the resolute will of the sovereign appear to be overwhelming his legal defenses. Despite this encouraging progress in the negotiations toward a voluntary exit, significant complex obstacles persist. These are not merely matters of moving vans and forwarding addresses. They are deeply entrenched financial and logistical sticking points that demand careful resolution. First and foremost is the issue of financial settlements. The Duke of York has invested a truly substantial amount of his own funds into the property over the years, stemming from the specific terms of his Crown Estate lease arrangement. Reports indicate that the millions he has poured into Royal Lodge represent a critical point of contention that must be resolved equitably. To force his removal without compensating him for these investments would expose the palace to further legal challenge and public criticism regarding fairness. Secondly, finding suitable alternative accommodation remains a major hurdle. The new residents must satisfy the security requirements of a senior royal, offer the necessary privacy, and be deemed appropriate for a Duke of York, even one stripped of his public duties. These two critical elements, the monetary compensation for his investment and securing a satisfactory alternative home, are currently the primary sticking points dominating the discussions. In recent weeks, palace officials have reportedly adopted an even more resolute and focused stance on securing Andrew's departure. They recognize that the continued ambiguity surrounding Royal Lodge hinders the king's ability to move forward with his broader plans for the royal estate. The need to resolve the millions Andrew invested in the property is paramount, ensuring that the Crown Estate lease arrangement is unwound cleanly and professionally. Adding another layer of complexity to these negotiations is the future of the Duke's daughters. During the crucial secret meeting, the future roles and security of Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie within the broader royal family structure were also high on the agenda. This includes discussions regarding their respective accommodations, with Beatrice currently residing at St. James's Palace and Eugenie at Kensington Palace. Royal insiders have made it clear that the palace fully recognizes the vital importance of protecting the interests, privacy, and future stability of Andrew's daughters, while simultaneously pursuing his necessary relocation from the Windsor estate. They are acknowledged members of the royal family, and their stability is a priority, ensuring that the consequences of their father's move do not unduly destabilize their own lives or relationships with the crown. To fully appreciate the extraordinary nature of this conflict, we must examine the details of the lease itself. For more than 2 decades, Prince Andrew has been paying what is essentially a symbolic annual fee for his residence at Royal Lodge. Imagine holding the keys to a sprawling, 30-room estate in the heart of Windsor, one of the most prestigious and historically significant addresses in the world. And your annual financial obligation is not tens of thousands of pounds, but merely a single, almost fictional, sum. The specific language of the lease arrangement is a relic of bygone royal property practices. It specifies the payment of 1 peppercorn yearly and, crucially, only if demanded. This ancient, highly unusual contractual detail is precisely the mechanism that has allowed Andrew to retain control over this substantial, prime piece of royal real estate for so long, despite his dramatic fall from grace. The peppercorn rent is not a joke. It is a binding legal term that underscores the complexity of the contracts signed decades ago. However, the lease was not entirely without financial obligation. A National Audit Office report clarifies that in addition to the symbolic peppercorn, Prince Andrew was obligated to contribute a massive sum of £7.5 million towards necessary renovations. These extensive works, which brought the Grand Old Lodge up to modern standards, were finalized back in 2000. This colossal investment is the source of the financial entanglement now complicating the king's efforts. Andrew essentially bought himself 50 years of tenure through this capital expenditure, and the palace cannot simply ignore that monetary commitment. The ongoing saga of Royal Lodge is more than just a real estate dispute. It is a symbolic battle for the soul and reputation of the modern monarchy. King Charles III is demonstrating that his commitment to a leaner, more responsible institution is unwavering, even when it involves confronting sensitive family matters. The resolution of this situation will serve as a definitive statement regarding who holds power within the new reign and what level of accountability is expected of all members of the royal family, regardless of their blood ties to the sovereign. The slow, deliberate process signifies the king's commitment to achieving a clean, legally sound break from the controversies of the past, ensuring that the institution can focus on its future without this damaging distraction. The optics of the Duke of York, a non-working royal who stepped back from public life following global scandal, continuing to occupy one of the most prestigious royal homes, simply became unsustainable. The pressure from the public and political spheres alike demanded action. The king's strategy appears to be a patient, persistent effort to use financial inducement and diplomatic pressure, the safe passage, to achieve what legal force cannot. The compensation package being discussed must be substantial enough to fully acknowledge the $7.5 million investment and the remaining 50 years of the lease. This is why the negotiations are so protracted and secretive. Every figure, every clause is being scrutinized to prevent future legal repercussions or further public relations disasters. Furthermore, the future use of Royal Lodge itself is a matter of great speculation. Once Andrew vacates the premises, the estate is expected to be reassigned, perhaps to a high-ranking working royal who can justify the use of such a significant property. This reallocation would further cement King Charles's vision of rewarding active service and consolidating the royal footprint. In conclusion, the situation at Royal Lodge represents the most significant test of King Charles III's resolve since his accession. He is attempting to dismantle a decades-old, legally complex arrangement that has shielded his brother from the full consequences of his actions. The vanishing banner, the secret negotiations, and the persistent sticking points over compensation and future housing all paint a picture of a monarch determined to secure a final, clean resolution. The fate of the 30-room estate, the millions invested, and the future residences of Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie are all intertwined in this complex, high-stakes family drama. This event certainly gives us much to reflect upon regarding the balance between family loyalty and institutional necessity within the monarchy. The cost of retaining dignity and public trust is high, and in this case, it is measured in millions of pounds and the relinquishing of a decades-long tenancy. What are your thoughts on this unprecedented situation? Do you believe King Charles III is right to push for Andrew's immediate departure, even with the complexities of the lease? Should the palace offer full compensation for his investments, or should the Duke bear some of the financial burden given the circumstances surrounding his withdrawal from royal duties? Please share your opinions in the comments section below. We always appreciate your insightful perspectives on these complex matters. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and join us for our next celebrity and royal update as we continue to track this ongoing story. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.